right, I'm gonna run you through just how simple it is to create a loop on an acoustic guitar and essentially create that full band experience. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this, and this is just my setup, and this is how I like to use looping for acoustic guitar. This is my live rig. I work in an acoustic live looping duo, so I'm the guitarist, I'm the bass player, I'm a terrible bass player, I'm the drummer, that's also questionable. I'm a guitarist and I do a little bit of vocals. Luckily, I work with an incredible singer who holds up the most part of the vocal responsibilities, but as it comes to this is my setup. Now, if you're interested in this, what I'm gonna be showing you today is the percussive drum side of it, where we're just gonna be using the acoustic sound of the guitar to create the drums with the kick and the snare and a little bit of the hi-hats. If you are interested, I also perform with the Akai MPC-1. Check out for the next video if you're interested in having a look at that to see how that incorporates into the system. So I'm just gonna talk you through each loop, and as I said, just how simple it is. So for the first loop, what I've done is I've created the kick and the snare. Now, as you saw at the start, it's really hard to go straight into, well, sorry, let me reiterate. It's really hard for a guitarist, insert drummer jokes here, to be able to go in and get the great time straight away. So what I do as a rule of thumb is I actually think about the song in my head, and I think about the groove that I want. Because when you're performing live, there's a crowd, you know, usually when we perform, it's anywhere, let's say an average size crowd is 100, 200 people. You've got your PA, you've got noise. To try and get that groove, it's really important to make sure that you're on tempo to start with, because as soon as you put a loop in, you play to that tempo the whole time. And believe me, I've made the mistake of putting a loop in that's too slow and it feels like someone's pushing a car uphill. So what I do is I think about the song, and in my head, I just strum the pattern as I go. So for this particular one here, all I'm doing is going, is that how I want it to go? Is that how fast it is? And then from there, I create the kick and snare. Now there's different ways. Everyone does this differently percussively on an instrument. The way that I've got this set up with the Maton Mini AP5 Pro pickup, I've got the piezo turned right up and the microphone is almost off. So if you hit down here, you can hear there's different kick drum sounds as you go along. So where I hit my kick drum, I usually hit it just over the sound hole or slightly back towards a bridge. So you guessed me, that one. Now, here's the little secret for this one. Most people do it just straight out with the sound of the acoustic. Here's my secret. What I do to make sure that I can enhance that bass sound, particularly through bass bins and a PA system, I turn on my bass octaver through my HX Stomp XL and listen to the difference now. Much, much bigger sound, and that booming compared to without it makes a complete difference when you're playing live. So the next part is the snare. So you can hear the snare. I do the snare here. A lot of the times I'll double up on the snare. So if I just play the actual track that I was playing, that I looped before, you can hear this. But if I wanted to, what I could do, rather than just doing this as a snare, there's some beautiful snare sounds that are around the body around here too. And underneath here is always a sweet spot. It gets a nice snappy snare sound. So if I wanted to, I could add on with this. So I'll do the first bar without it, and then I'll add that in so you can hear the difference. Huge difference. This is the best thing about music. It's completely to your taste. Whatever you like the sound of. A lot of people like to do the snare down here. There's people that lean over and tap this here and do this down here. I'm uncoordinated enough as it is with doing two things at once. Playing guitar is enough. So trying to do the percussion, the bass, vocals, some keys, some layers to it, I try and make things as simple as possible. Next up, once we've got the drum and the bass, then we want to get our groove. So once that's in, we can hear that going. And the next thing we want to do is what I do is switch across to my next side, and I go to my next track and I create the track. Now, when it comes to the melody side of things, this is all about layers and trying to get in the pocket. Again, if you perform live on a live looping track and you are the tiniest bit out, that's going to make a huge difference. And this is where looping, any type of looping The most important thing isn't the gear, it isn't the guitar, it isn't the PA, it isn't the sound, it isn't the vocalist. It's how much you can practice and how good you can get at getting that tight rhythm sounding right the way through. That's gonna be a huge difference when you're performing live, and it's gonna make the song really pop when it is in time. Now that's a hard thing to do because you've got lots of things going on. As you can see, the ultimate tap dance going on here with the pedal board. It's really important to make sure with your layers that you are layering in time. So we can turn on that first, you can hear the drums. And if I add in the layers that I added from there, the next layer was just a very simple rhythm, which was, and that looped around. Once I've done that, I armed the track again and I came back, and then I put my bass onto that. So that's on the same track, I just layered it over the top. So from there, that's where the bass came in. From there, once the bass was added, that's when it starts to get interesting. You can add the extra sauce or the extra layers. And that's why digging into that pocket is such a massive difference. So the next thing that I did is I came across to an auto filter, and all I did was add a really simple layer in there in between the grooves. So by itself, soloed out, it sounds like this. In the mix, this is what it sounds like. You get the idea. Once that's done, the next thing I did is step over here onto the wah pedal, and all I did was on one section, I wanted to add a little layer on top of it so that it actually went for the duration of the bar, which was a simple. I'll let that ring out. We've now got our drums, we've got our kick and our snare, we've got our rhythm line, we've then got some single notes included on the rhythm line, we've got our bass, which is a very simple bass progression going through. We've added in some layers with some auto filter just to spice it out a little bit. We put an extra layer in there of wah just for one of the bars. The next part from here, all I did was put that auto filter back on. I put on the booster just to get ready for the solo, and the solo just was so that pops out. So here's the difference without the booster. And if I added the booster on there. So all up, once you throw all of that together, you have your loop. It really is as simple as that. Now, just to talk through some of the other pedals that I've got on the board here, we've got obviously the Line 6 HX Stomp XL, which is all of my acoustic sounds. The other thing I do with this is I go between acoustic guitar and electric, so I'll put layers down on acoustic when I'm performing live. I can change this across because what that does is it allows me to have an electric path with some IRs on there so I can emulate an electric amplifier with different sounds that I've got going. That's a whole nother video in itself, which I can go through. I've got the Boss RC300, which is my main staple for my looper pedal. As you can see here, I've got a pedal called a Loopy, which is an Australian brand, I believe. Loopy pedals. What this does is this allows me to toggle between microphone 1 and microphone 2. So what that is I'll be either using my microphone for singing, or I can switch this across without any noise to do some beatboxing straight into the looper pedal, which is fantastic. Got my custom audio electronics wah, which has been my favorite wah for a very, very long time, and the all trusty Boss TU3 tuner. That's it. The main part about this, though, the biggest thing to remember is you don't need a lot of gear. If you just have a looper, you don't have any effects, and all you want to do is run through and see how you can get your timing, that's the best thing to do. Do it completely dry. Do it without effects. Do it on a dry sound, either an acoustic or an electric guitar. There's some amazing videos of players out there like Mark Lettieri from Snarky Puppy. Go and watch him. He's scary how in time he is and in the pocket. And that's what looping's all about, you know, and that's what music's about. The better your timing, the more you are sitting in that pocket, the better the music sounds. I'd love to know right in the comment section below, what loop station you're using. Do you use that for electric guitar? Do you use it for acoustic guitar? Is that for live performances, or is it just to jamming out in your bedroom or lounge room at home just to enjoy the music? Please put a comment in the comment section below.